The meaning of yoga is union with oneself, union with your highest self, the highest that you can be in this life. That's the real meaning of yoga. And you don't have to do fancy postures in order to achieve that. You just have to live your calling without fear. And the whole subject matter tonight is the meaning of self-esteem. Now I want you to notice very clearly, self-esteem is very different from self-importance. You know, when I learned this early in my practice of yoga, I traveled to many different yoga schools. And one of the things that I heard, oh, you know, I have to work on myself, so I have to build up my self-esteem. And in order to do that, I have to meditate every morning. So I get so irritated that my family disturb me. And you know, so much misery caused because you're building your self-esteem. Building your self-esteem, why should it cause misery to anybody else? That's self-importance. I am more important than everybody else. Building self-esteem is respecting who you are. And by shouting at everybody, my husband gets in my way because I'm doing my meditation, my children get in my way, my wife gets in my way, that's not self-esteem. That's selfishness. And I see this over and over again whenever I travel. Many people, oh, I have to do my spiritual work to build up myself. But with that ego, with that power, with that manipulation, it's nothing to do with self. I said, really? You're doing spiritual work and you're putting everybody else down? So self-esteem comes really when you really have self-esteem. Humility is very easy. It's part of your nature. It's part of who you are. You're joyful. You're happy to be anywhere. I learned a great lesson again with my master also at a very early time in my practice. Self-esteem, assert your importance. You know, many people will understand this after many years of marriage, when you have children, you know, the partnership loses that magic, you look messy sometimes, you come home, you're tired, the man is tired, the woman is tired, the magic is kind of lost, then both partners start to lose their confidence in themselves. And they think that when they lose this confidence, they're losing each other, and this is a big mistake. It happens when you're bringing up children, you're raising a family. The things are going to be very difficult. There's a lot of learning in it. There's a lot of troubles in it. There's a lot of self-sacrifice in it. There's a lot of giving up in it. But during all that giving up, we also lose who we are. Because the focus is totally on bringing up the children, on making the money, getting the money in to feed the family. So during that process, we lose who we are. And lots of people come to me at the age of 45, 50 and say, I don't know who I am. You know, I seem to have lost my confidence. I'm stuck in this job. I need to feed my family, but I feel I'm capable of doing more, but I'm stuck. I can't move on. It's almost like they've lost all the self-esteem. Tell them the easy way is make your marriage romantic again and fill yourself with confidence and love and joy, but you need two partners to agree to do that. And then the self-esteem comes back, and then the job gets good, and then everything works. Respect each other, love each other, you start from home. But not everybody can do that. And sometimes the relationship is so far gone that you can't pick up the pieces. So how do you build up self-esteem? First, to realize what it really means. It's not building up your ego and making your ego more powerful. It is about purifying the ego. And it was a difficult lesson for me to learn. You know, spiritual lesson, worldly lesson, they get very confused and the learnings are very subtle. So in the beginning of my practices of yoga and trying to learn about my human personality, and after all those years of being a housewife, and you know, I wanted to know who I was. I wanted to build up my self-esteem. And of course, with the worldly learning, I was on the path of self-importance rather than self-esteem. I wanted to show people how I was now meditating and I was getting good, I was developing these qualities, and I wanted to show. And I remember one of the greatest learnings for me was from my master. I went to see him in Yogaville. And at that time, you know, when you start the practice of meditation and you start to purify yourself, many of you on this business of serving, you know, I know Ananda does lots of good work, and a lot of people who do lots of healing and massage. You start to understand that you see more than the person. You start to develop a clairaudience and clairvoyance. And then energy comes to you, to your hands. Anyway, I realized energy was coming through me, through my hands. But I was mistaking this energy to be mine. So what happens one day, somebody comes with arthritis. I was still working in a shop, still running a business, and came to my shop and said, oh, I've got this knob, I got really pain. So I did this to the hand. And next day she comes to my shop and said, ah, you healed me. So I'm getting really, this confidence, this lack of confidence is going, and I'm getting really kind of powerful here. You know? And I was like this to my husband, which I didn't realize, you see, because it was so subtle. I didn't even realize. That's one instance. And then somebody else who wanted to get pregnant, touched her stomach, she got pregnant the very next month, and she goes, ah, and then my ego's building up, and I didn't even realize I was going home, telling my husband, well, you need to get on your feet now because I'm not going to be working with you long in the shop. You know, this kind of... No problem.
It's just causing a lot of disturbance.
Okay.
Maybe they can't hear it.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can
He always is aware of it, that it's a click, click, click. So
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
No. Thank you for letting me know. I was not aware. So thank you.
Your
So
story about the shop, wasn't it?
thank you. Yeah. So I was like developing this kind of thinking I was doing good. I was doing all the right things, and my husband in the shop was doing, you know, business, not good enough. So I was breaking down his confidence even more because I'd built up more. And that wasn't yoga, that wasn't self-esteem. But at that point, I did not see it. I did not see that. I was just so excited that my confidence was coming back and my power was coming back that I had no respect for the person who I loved the most at that point. So anyway, I went to see my master in America. And one of his secretaries was talking to me, and I was saying, I can do this now and this. She said, oh, Nalanie, I got a pain in my leg, and she got better. So she went quickly and told Gurudev, my master, said, Gurudev, Nalanie, all this meditation, she's developed this power now. So I'm sitting there, how embarrassing. And I'm sitting there in front of my master, who's like so tall, 6 foot. For those who met him, his energy was dynamic. He wasn't of this human world. If you look at his hands, the amount of lines, his feet, his ears, his eyes, he was just not, he wasn't like us, he was different, even physically, to look at. So there was this giant power, and she's telling him all this, and he goes, is that true, Nalanie? Oh, yes, Gurudev. I'm building up my confidence now. So anyway, just as we finished lunch, she goes, oh, Nalanie, he'd love to tease people who his voice, right, Gita? Oh, Nalanie, I got a bit of a stomachache. Can you heal me? So there I come walking up, and I'm just about to touch his stomach, and I look at him and I go, oh. Jump down to his feet, and I go, I am so sorry. And he looked at me, he said, you're a good student, you learn quick. Wow, but that was like, whoa, there was this great master, and there I was thinking, and that was one great lesson in the difference between self-esteem and self-importance. You see, when we grow spiritually, we have these journeys to make and these paths to cross. And I realize I'm not the only one that crosses the same paths, but nearly everybody I have known on the spiritual journey, as soon as they start getting a little confidence in their work, I have noticed the danger is the ego grows. And the ego is nothing to do with self-esteem. And so from that point, I started to guard myself. So the next trip, I remember Gurudev called, come to India. I would like you to come to India for 9 days. So I knew there was something for me to learn. And I went to India, and again, he was opening the Sachidananda school, and he had all the top states people coming to the opening. But in India, like in Spain, they're always late. Nobody's on time. So we had the opening at 5, and of course all the students from other places in the world had come for the opening. I have water. You sure you can have this one? So lots of people from all over the world come, and we're the first ones to arrive. And Gurudev obviously is in the first row, and the children are going to have their first sports day, and there are 5-6 rows just behind Gurudev for dignitaries, right? So all of us sit on those rows, and it was the only ones in the shade, the rest were in the hot sun. So the dignitaries, 1 hour later, they all start arriving. And of course, myself, Swami Dayananda, and Dr. Amrita, all long-time disciples of Gurudev at that time, all of us had the thought maybe the younger students, the new ones, should move. Nobody would move. And then all of a sudden, Gurudev, our master, turns around and looks at us three were sitting together. And we looked at, we got the message, you know, we've been students. We said, we're not waiting for anybody else to move, we're getting out of here. So we looked at each other. We all three got the message. The 3 stood up, got out of our seats, went to the dignitaries, you know, and there were more. And we were hoping the students would learn from our gesture. Guess what? None of them got up. Gurudev did the same thing to the other side. Nobody got up. But we 3 did. So we sat on these steps with the students, and phew, and you know, it made us feel so good. It made us feel really good. So the next event was dinner with all these dignitaries, and there was a singer from India. Automatically, I just decided Dr. Amrita had to go somewhere, Swami Dayananda had to do something else. I was left pretty much on my own. Dinner. We're all supposed to sit down in this huge, there was maybe 200 people there. So I chose the very last table. Didn't want to get in anyone's way. Didn't want to be a cognito. I've done this in America. I'm not going to do the ego thing again. But you know, in my mind, there was this thing. Really, I've come all the way. I should be in front. You know, there's a battle. We have this battle. Really, I should be in front. Really, I should. But no. And then the other side, the higher side. What are you going to prove to anybody? That you're close to him? What are you proving? Is that self-esteem? Is that ego? Can you hear yourself? What have you learned in humility all these years? Nothing. Sit at the back of the room. And then I sat, I got my food, and I became so happy that I was happy with my decision. I wasn't angry that I had to sit in the back. I was thrilled I could do it. And then suddenly when I sat there and I was just going to have my first bite, I hear a voice roaring across the room. Where is Nalanie? Why isn't she sitting here? And I was so, 200 people. And he called me up, and I realized it was my reward from the gods for fighting that battle with my own ego. And it was such a great lesson for me that ego always loses out in the end. And real self-esteem comes from a place where you don't care whether you're recognized or not. When you really don't care, when you're really just so happy with who you are, then you've developed self-esteem. And when you do, then you are free from the need for attention, the need for people to approve of you, the need for all the need. The need is what drives you crazy. That doesn't give you the strength. When you are needy, you lack strength. You go into victim mode. So I realized real self-esteem is to be comfortable anywhere. And sometimes it's really so nice a practice to be anonymous, you know, and then you're so happy in your world wherever you are. But I also learned at the same time, my lesson obviously was humility. Humility, because obviously I realized everybody has different lessons with their ego. Some people pride, some people arrogance, some people aggression. You have to know where your weakness lies. And I realized my weakness lied with my ego and self-importance, because I came from a very well-known family in Hong Kong, and for many years I was working hard, and I got back my confidence, but with the confidence came that pride. So that was my learning, and I had to drop that. So everybody has a way to find their self-esteem. First you discover where your weakness lies, and then the next way to build up self-esteem is very, very simple. Because now you're open to learning. You're open to humility. You've had the battles. If you don't learn to be humble, you will never learn from life. All life is a teacher. Every situation that comes to us is a special learning, is a special lesson from the universe. When I started to understand, really notice that every single pain or suffering that came to me was really because the universe loved me so much to push me forward, to learn, to become better, to be the best I could. I said, oh my God, I'm suffering because the universe wants me to learn this quick. I can either take long or I can take quick. I prefer to take quick. And that was the eye-opener for me to develop myself and my self-esteem. That no pain came to us to hurt us or to punish us. But all the pain and suffering came to us because the gods loved us so much. And it was up to us how quick we learn or how slow we learn. And I learned very quickly. Self-importance, low self-esteem are our downfalls. Playing the victim mode is low self-esteem. Downfall. Too much self-importance, downfall. Somewhere in the middle lies the truth. And then once you understand that, you say, okay, here I start. Now I'm willing to learn from the universe. Give me your lessons. Give me your lessons. And when you are ready to embrace your lessons without anger, you know, I hope you don't mind, Rena, we were talking about you today. Can I mention what we said?
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah, you all know Rena, maybe many of you don't. Within a year, you know, it's sure you're okay with it? Yeah.
Okay.
You know, we were all talking, her friends were talking about her. Within a year, her husband left her, painful, but she accepted without causing pain in return. She made the moves, she went back home, she left everything there. She was sad, because I met her when she was moving, and I could remember she was sad, but she was positive with her sadness. And when she got back home, her mother was very, very sick. And she spent the year looking after her mom. Her mom died, and she said she helped her mother in the last stages. 2 weeks later, her father passed away. And look at her, how acceptance and not causing pain in return. That's real self-esteem. And no fear of moving on. No fear, I can be happy again. I must keep going, I must keep going. And this is what life brings. Whoa, just go with it. And this is so wonderful to watch. It makes you so happy to watch. And then today she says, and I've got a new boyfriend. So that's the week. That's, you see, no complaining. She didn't complain. She just was positive. And the universe loves this energy. It loves this energy. And to be this positive means high self-esteem. For me, that is, and the universe is all high, so not victim mode, poor me. Of course she felt sad. I'm sure she must have complained at the beginning. It's normal. But she got over it quick. She didn't spend years, you know, like many of the cases, 22 years later after divorce, they're still angry and still blaming the other part. They've lost 22 years of their lives. What a waste of time. She didn't waste time. Done, finished, start again. So the universe gives you gifts very quickly when you're able to learn your lessons very quickly. And that's not falling into low self-esteem. Most people do. When a partner leaves them, they feel they're not good enough. They feel there's something wrong with them. They go into poor me mode, you know. They lose all their power and the force. With that, their confidence. With that, their self-esteem. And everything that my yoga doesn't work. Yoga is about knowing your higher self. You haven't understood yoga. Your purest self. Your most accepting self, your most loving self. Not about playing the victim. If you look at any great sage or saint, all of them were power forward. Most of them had suffering, a lot of suffering in their life. None of them complained. That's self-esteem. None of them complained. None of them feared that they wouldn't get love in return. They knew they were already loved by the highest. So they weren't out there preaching, oh, because I'm preaching, you must love me. No. I'm giving you medicine. That's what they did. Whether you gave them back or not did not matter. In the end, they even took, as Lord Jesus did, the cross, the highest sacrifice. Because what was important was the love that he was transmitting. And not who loved him or who didn't love him in return. You know, it was the love he was transmitting. He didn't even care when they told him he was breaking all the religious rules by doing healing on Sunday, on the Sabbath. He broke all the rules. He was the biggest rebel I know for his religion at that time. But that's what made him so great, because he looked at the highest good for the highest amount of people. And he was part of the people. It wasn't about him. It was about the service. And that's super self-esteem. So when you look at all the great masters and sages, so next step, I'm telling you, first you get rid of that ego that is so I know it all kind of thing. Get rid of that. You don't. None of us know it all. And you never will. You never will. My master said to me once, you think you know it all? Look at the goddess Lakshmi. She's a goddess, and Saraswati. And we have an Indian goddess called Saraswati, goddess of arts. And she's holding a book in her hands, which means she's still learning, and mala beads, still practicing. And you think you know it all? We think any of us can know it all? Look at the galaxies. Look at all the other planets. We know nothing. What we can do is experience. Who said that today to me in the room? Was it you, Helen? We can experience.
No, it was me.
Yes, was you, Ruth?
It was
Yeah.
Universal philosophy is impossible, but a universal experience is not only possible but necessary.
Yes. The experience is possible. So when you build up yourself for the highest experience, you have to understand, before you can have the highest experience, you got to lose the low self-esteem. So you have to do very practical things in life. Very practical things in this worldly existence in order to build up to the highest. You can't escape those steps. So the first thing you do is you start to look at people that you respect in life. What qualities do you really respect? And why do you respect them? Start to study that. Oh, I love this person because I love the way they smile. I wish I could smile like that. No wish, smile like that. Do it. Don't wish I could be a happy person. Do it. How do you do it? If you are not a happy person and you're always looking for something to complain, watch more comedies. Many tools in this modern world. Go to people who are happy. It makes it work very, very quickly. Don't go around people who are depressed and tell you, oh, the world is falling apart, because it is. And don't you know, it's all going to the pits. No, go to people who lift you, make you happy. Go to the mirror, personal practice. Look at how I look when I don't smile. But this is how I look. Eeks. Do I like to look at myself? No. How do I like to see myself? Look in the mirror. Powerful practice. So simple, so powerful. Every day, look at the mirror and smile. And then, added bonus, the more you smile, the younger you stay. Shine. Shine moisturizes your skin. So you want to stay young? Added bonus. The gods love joy. So then you do that practice. And it's okay, you're human, so you can take the extra bonus in this physical life. Why not? You know, the gods want us to have everything. Gone is this theory that in order to be spiritual, you have to give up everything. Did not the gods say, go forth and multiply, be happy? Get rid of this poor me theory. Does not exist. Look at our master. He was, wow, he could drive planes, he could drive cars, he could fix engines, could do virtually anything. Anything. He could be in a place that was for a pauper, and he could be in the White House with President Clinton or George Bush. He met all of them. Or with the Pope. He was equally as comfortable everywhere. Everywhere. And for me, wow, that is real self-esteem. And no ego. Because I've seen him with the poorest of the poorest and hug them and love them. The same way as he would love president. Do you know? No difference. And I watched somebody like that. My father was like that. And in fact, when he died, we quite surprised. All the caretakers and night watchmen all came to his funeral. He said he used to buy cakes every Friday. Every Friday he used to buy boxes of cakes before going to the office and give it to the watchmen of the office buildings and different families on the street. And then he'd go to work, but nobody knew he did that. You know? And all these people started, and he would give them money for their family and get them married. And nobody knew that he did all that. And we've discovered a lot of the stuff he did when he was gone. By his funeral, all these people coming, you know. So, and you know, you kind of admire this kind of goodness, this kind of kindness, right? So, like for example, if you admire people who are happy, be happy. You admire people who are good, do good. Don't just talk. In order to do good is very, very simple. I tell children, you know, I tell my grandchildren, you know, be good. Oh, Granny, but I'm good. No, you're not. You never offer your mom and dad a drink. You expect them to do things for you all the time. That's not good. You know, Gran? No, that's no good at all. Just want. You're very selfish, children. Granny, don't tell us we're selfish. I said, ask your mom at least what they want to drink. And now they do. They make breakfast for them on a Saturday. You know, they bring them breakfast. And I remember just a few months ago, my granddaughter stayed with me, and I get up very early in meditation. They wait till I open my eyes. Granny! And anyway, they were there sitting with me, and my granddaughter goes, I don't want you to get out of bed to make us breakfast this morning. Why, darling? I love to do it for you. I love to make you breakfast. Granny, just stay there. I got a surprise. Stay there. She goes in the kitchen. She knows I love my real coffee machine, not fake coffee like Nescafe. She's trying to do the machine. I hear her. I said, no, she told me to sit. She does the toast. She brings it. She goes, I'm really, really sorry. I really want to give you a surprise, but I can't make you coffee. You know, it's we need to teach ourselves this kind of thing, you know. We need to teach ourselves to do little things that make us happy. And it's so easy when somebody's in the home with you just to surprise them and bring them a cup of tea or just water without anybody having to ask, you know. Just to do it because it makes you feel good. It makes you feel, hey, like today I was sitting there this afternoon and suddenly I get a cup of hot water next to me. Ah, Ula, thank you. I was so comfortable and so glued. I haven't sat down like that for months. And just sit. And I get a cup of hot water. I go, wow. You know, it's a perfect action. It brings joy to both people. You see, there are little things you can do in life that builds up your joy. It doesn't have to be great things. And when you start to do the little things for people on a daily basis, your partner, you know, many times we stay in relationships the first 2 years, you're so kind to each other, friendships. And then after 2 or 3 years, you take each other for granted. And you don't do these nice things. Your turn, and it's your turn. And it breaks your self-esteem. It does. It just makes life very hard. Self-esteem is built on goodness and kindness and compassion and not, I did this for you. All these unkind things break you down. They break you down. It's really interesting, you know, it's so subtle, but it's so truthful. When you do so many of these kind things, you like yourself. Now, when you start liking yourself, guess what happens? Automatically, you get stronger. People notice. People do notice. You look different. What have you been doing? I remember a very, very simple story many, many years ago. I think I may have told it here, I don't know. When I first started teaching yoga, and I had this English woman come in, and she was such a great person. You know how you can feel greatness in a person, but she was too shy. She was too shy. So one day, she just, no self-esteem in the sense of no confidence. And she came to me after a class and she said, you know, Nalanie, Spanish lady I see every day on my work, and every day she has to go up to the first floor of, the ICC is a building and has an escalator. And every day she takes 15 minutes because she's scared of it. She's an old lady, these modern escalators scare her, you know. And she's Spanish, but I don't speak Spanish. And I think every day I want to help her, but I'm so embarrassed. What if she screams at me? What if she thinks I'm being, you know, what? You spent so many months and weeks thinking about this. So what if she screams at you? But you're thinking, it's in your mind for 3 or 4 months now. Just do it. Really? What if she shouts? Okay, let's expect the worst. She's going to shout. But guess what? At least you've done it and it's out of your head. Right? So a few weeks later, I saw a different person. So I said, what have you done? You look so different. I did what you told me. And now every morning I do it for her. But not only that. Whenever I see anybody in need, I run right away. I said, you've got the message. She said, oh, Nalanie, I love this practice. Such a simple practice, but made her sit up tall. One simple practice. And I go, oh my God, is it that simple to raise your self-esteem? And it is that simple. It is, there's so many unnecessary fears of mistrust for the world, rejection. What if people reject me? We're so fearful that we don't allow ourselves to be who we are. And that is our downfall. Fear. Victim mode. Fear is a big one. What will people say? If I'm good, will they laugh at me? So what if they do? Do you want self-esteem or do you want the other person to have it? You can only fix yourself. Nobody can fix you. Nobody can fix you. You want to fix yourself? Start fixing yourself. Stop blaming your partner. Stop blaming your friend. Stop blaming your parents. Stop blaming your children. Nobody can fix you. You build yourself up to such power and strength. Such power and strength. And guess what? You become power and strength because that is the quality of the universal love. It is the quality. And then if somebody insults you, no problem, it's their problem. You know who you are. Gurudev taught me that as well. He said, if you're really quite dumb. He says, if somebody calls you stupid, you cry and you suffer. That means you are stupid. So simple. He said, somebody calls you stupid and you go, that's your opinion, then you are not stupid. It's not, I know who I am. And that to me was such a great lesson, because for me, I used to, people used to say boo and I used to cry, and I was working in a shop and I used to have clients in. And anybody work in retail business here before? Any of you worked in a shop, or you have, right? Do you know how sometimes clients can be, they might break something and then they bring it back to you and they blame you and they start shouting and screaming. And I go, oh, I used to tell my husband, I don't know why I married you. If I was an alcoholic, I would not be working in this, and nobody would be shouting at me. And actually it was the best lesson for me, because once I practiced yoga, I remember I sold a suitcase, and brand new, really good quality, and a man comes 6 months later and said, the suitcase is broken. I said, but you've traveled with it. You can see when a suitcase is really traveled with. You can complain to the airline. We sold it in perfect condition. Starts shouting, screaming at me, and I go, oh, I'm so sorry, you're feeling so horrible. Please sit down and have a cup of tea. I told him to do that. I'd never done that before. Yoga, I would let him cry and get angry, and how dare you speak to me like that. Go to my husband's office. My husband would see me so sad and scream at the guy and war. But so have a cup of tea, sit down, let's see if we can talk about this. What's bothering you? I said, do you see my point of view? Once I gave him the cup of tea, and he said, you know what? It is the airlines. I have traveled a lot. Yes. Thank you very much. There it was. My self-esteem could change a situation totally, because I did not accept. I was fearless with the practices. Practice of reading all these things. What makes me better? What makes me stronger? What builds me up? What brings me down? Weakness, feeling sorry for myself, And after that, I went to my husband and I really thanked him. I thanked him so much for taking me there to learn that lesson. I would have never learned it anywhere else, And when you are strong and somebody screams and shouts at you and you don't feel bad, wow, do you know what a feeling of freedom that is? Do you know how free that is? You know what? They just insulted me. And I really don't feel bad. Thank you, I did it. I don't have to spend 10 days in misery because of one word, which is what I used to do. This is why I know people can do it. This is why I know we can all build up a real self-esteem. And it's not about self-importance, it's not about any of that. It really is about goodness and kindness and compassion and love and getting to love ourselves, building up those qualities practically in everyday life, in our work. In our work, everything we get coming to us, to be grateful, to love it, to trust that whatever comes to us is best for us, no matter how painful. And when you do that, the universe makes sure that you are looked after. You don't have to worry. It may take 1 year, it may take 2 years, but I guarantee I have seen in every single case that when people work really on the real spiritual growth, for me that's self-esteem, in the kindest way, that they are always later on rewarded. Always. And I know my time is up because Shanti just told me it's 8:30, so
No. Time for a break, right?
Time for a break?
Not yet.
Oh.
Another quarter of an hour.
Are you sure?
Absolutely.
Are you
We
all
started
comfortable?
late
Do you
and
need
I
to
spoke a lot
stretch?
as well.
Would you like a cup of tea before? And maybe they'll have a cup of tea and they can come back. No?
As you want.
Okay. How many would like a cup of tea and need a drink? One. Okay.
One.
Great.
There you go.
Outnumbered. Can we get a...
No, we'll give her one. No,
I'll wait.
I haven't touched it yet.
Oh, yeah, I got water.
Thank you.
Yeah, because sometimes the throat
Yours.
does get dry,
Yes.
you know,
She's
when you're
alright.
sitting. And I'll have a sip too. So, so these are ways, so that's are ways, practical ways you can help yourself. Okay, ask yourself as well, that when you complain a lot, and when you look for fault in others, always somebody else's problem. Oh, it is because you did this that I'm in this situation. No, but your self-esteem is not balanced at all. The fact that you have to blame somebody else, even if it's their fault, okay? Because you will see a deeper meaning in that. Even if it is, even if they are wrong, the fact that you have to attack and say it's your fault shows you don't have faith in yourself to see the truth behind that lesson. So watch yourself. If you're blaming a lot, like I blamed my husband for bringing me to the shop, but really, I was weak and the lesson came to me. I had to be in the shop working with all these kind of people that I'd never been used to before to learn humility. The lesson was mine. While I was blaming him, I could not learn. It took me 23 years to leave a job in a shop that I never wanted. That's how long it took me. So if you take 1 or 2 years, you're lucky. You got a lot of guidance. Gods love you. Took me that long to knock it out of my head. So, those were my lessons in building up my real self-esteem. But while I was blaming him, I could not grow. When I started taking responsibility, why are these lessons coming to me? I am too weak. If I'm weak, I'll always play victim mode, and I'll always feel sorry for myself. I'll never have enough confidence. That's why it comes to me. So the moment you switch from blaming to taking responsibility, there is a joy. There is a feeling of accomplishment every time you do something for yourself. Every time you do a new job that you've never done for yourself, even though difficult, there is a feeling of, wow, I've climbed the other hurdle. And that makes your self-esteem really grow. You really like yourself. You really feel proud of yourself. And you know, all the greatest masters, Master Chinmayananda, he says, you know, men and women, both of you, learn to be independent. Learn to be independent. Yes, love each other. But you know, we've been brought up, oh, the man should make all the money and the women should do all the cooking. Nonsense. Whoever's stronger at that point, take on that responsibility. It's all these years of indoctrination. If you are strong in one aspect, you do it. And you should share the job. It makes it so much more fun. Or do it together, not separate. Then we become needy. Oh, we're broke. It's all your fault that we have not enough money. We become needy. Do you see? We're blaming. And when we become needy, we lose our strength again. We lose our strength. So, okay. My husband or my wife is out of a job. I'm strong. I can do it. Maybe I'm not the one who always done it, but I'll do it now. I'll take over. It gives you a feeling of power. But if you keep blaming the other person, you will never get your power. You will always be weak. Try to be as independent as possible. Learn to do things that frighten you. That's what my master told me. Nalanie, I'm not worried about you doing what you love to do. What you need to learn is to love what you don't love to do. And really, when I started loving being in my business, in fact, I was almost taking the whole business over because I loved it. That's when I was shifted to do this work. I learned my lesson. There was nothing to learn anymore. So the gods had to move me. See, when you learn your lessons, you get moved. Automatic. You get automatic control. It's really quite cool. Try it. Learn it. But when you're in victim mode, low self-esteem, sorry, no engine, no petrol, cannot work. You won't get it. You just won't get it. And you can spend lifetimes stuck. Don't get stuck. blame is really, for me, when I hear somebody blaming, I start shaking because I know what it did to me. And it's so unkind, and it's really not true. And I really, so glad I apologized to my husband so many times when I used to blame him. I know, really, I shouldn't be blaming you, but I can't help it. You know, because when you're first learning to stop doing it, it's hard to stop. It's a bad habit. You know, it's a bad habit that you can't stop. It takes many years. And I used to tell him, I know I'm blaming you, I really shouldn't do it, forgive me, but I have to now. I just gotta get it out. But the fact that I admitted it, you know, I could admit it to him, made him, like you laugh, made him laugh. So it wasn't serious. And I go, I'll get over it, give me a few hours, give me a few hours. And really, with the practice of doing this constantly, after a few years, there was no more need to do it anymore. It just automatically left me. So look at that in your life. Huh? It's a big one. I didn't even realize how badly I was doing it. So I really thought I was such a good person. And they're so subtle. It's really, really subtle. When you see yourself, you get really kind of, wow, you know. This is not what I want. And this is bad habits that I've learned, that's all. It's not me. The yogis say our true nature is truth, knowledge, bliss, absolute. That's how we should be living, in truth, in knowledge, in bliss. What is stopping me? All these what you call indoctrinated ideas, my own doctrination, you know, believing I should be a certain way. Why should I be a certain way? Why do I have to fill in boxes? People don't like me? Great. I can only live my life. You can only live your life. Nobody can live your life for you. So I have only one person to answer to, and that's my boss, the universe. And you have to see that that is the truth for all of us. Ultimately, we have the universe, because that's where we're going back to. This is only temporary. So start to realize that no universe is picking on you. And all this low self-esteem stuff shows a big ego and shows laziness. Next one to look for. Laziness. Buddha says, we have quite a few Buddhists here, Buddha says one of the worst crimes is laziness. And I totally agree with him. People know the truth. They study a lot of spiritual books. They don't want to do the practice. And you must have seen that lots of times. You've done so many courses. She does wonderful courses in raw foods. She does it in London. So if ever you're in England, I advise to go to one of her courses.
Portugal.
And in Portugal, yes. Sorry, I forgot that one. And raw foods, yeah, that she teaches people nutrition, yeah. So you can see people will come to the courses and they'll love it, and then when they go back home, they're lazy to practice. I remember you told me a story about somebody that she had known and developed cancer, and they went to this place to learn how to, in Florida, right, or somewhere else, never mind, and to learn about nutrition and eating for cancer. Oh, remember you told me a story about this person, and he came back, and of course when you learn you get very excited, but when you come back to the place, all the things are difficult to find. Now when you're sick, it's very hard to do it. So don't wait till you're sick to get your strength, because then it's difficult to build up. But when you build up your strength, when you're strong, when you get sick, you learn, and you say, even though I'm tired, I have to keep aside 2 hours every day to practice this, because this is going to make me well. But if you don't practice before and then you get sick, I feel sad because you can't do it then, you're too weak. Sri Patanjali tells us, once disease sets in, even if you know the practice and you want to, it's very difficult to do it because it's too late, your body's too tired. So learn to do it when you're young. Build up your strength when you're young.
And sorry if I may say, because when she realized, she loved it so much, the different way in thinking, in eating, but it was too late. If many of us had done it before, you build up the strength that you're talking about, spiritually, physically, mentally. And she was loving the changes. And you won't recognize me how I'm thinking differently, eating differently, but it was too late. It was too late.
Yeah. So you see, and then the body doesn't want to look for the foods and look for this, and so it's really
Too weak
important.
as
Yeah,
well.
too weak. And True Patanjali tells us, watch out for disease. It's one of the things that will bring you down. So be strong, and then when disease comes, you can conquer it. You know, my father had prostate cancer for many years. The doctor had told him he would die. He had 10 more years than the doctors had told him. It's when disease came, he had already built up his spiritual power so strong that he used to say, "Oh, sorry leg, you are painful today. I'm sorry this disease has come," because his feet used to get really swollen at the end of the day. He still go take my mum out for dinner, still go to the office every single day. And, sorry body, your back is in pain. Still every morning try to do the cobra. Couldn't do it on the floor, got a hard mattress on his bed, did it every morning. That's the only hatha yoga posture I can do, Nalanie. And he did it every morning. I can't meditate cross-legged anymore, so I do yoga nidra every morning. Do you see? And then the disease did not conquer him. He lived till he was 86, you know? And he conquered the disease. And he lived he promised my mother 60th anniversary, he gave it to her. And he was diagnosed with, you know, stage 3, the age of 10 years before, when he was 50 years married. And he gave her her 60th wedding anniversary. And he was so happy he could do that for her. And after that he left. But you see, the mind can be very positive and strong, even when your whole world is falling apart. If you have very strong self-esteem, and you're not lazy. He was not lazy. Yes, the body was aching, but he still went to work. And you know why he went to work every morning? He said, because I can get out of your mother's hair. All day long she has to give me medicine this, medicine this. And she has no free time to do her thing. She's always thinking of looking after me. You know? If I leave her, then when I come back, she's happy. She has her own time. Such a wise man. Such a wise man. So it was really selfless service. And many times his nurse would say he'd go into the office and he had one of these chairs and he'd be in so much pain he'd just lie down and then didn't carry on business with all these people, the watchman with this one and that one, and look after all these people. It's very cute. My dad was an exceptional man. But he taught me great lessons, you know. And my dream always, even as a little girl, was to be like him. So find an ideal, because it helps, you know. Because when you have somebody that you admire and you want to be like them, it's an ideal. When you forget, when you go into low self-esteem and you get these bad moments where you feel, I'm never going to get out of this, when you have a high ideal, there's something to look up to. And no, if they can do it, I can do it. All the greatest masters, all the greatest saints and sages told us one thing: do as I do, and you'll be as happy as I am. But our master always say, what's the point of garlanding my photograph and putting flowers in front of me and say, Gurudev, go find the Guru within. Thank you very much, this is very nice, but look, you know, what I want from you, he would say, is to find the Guru within. Use me as a crutch, he would say. Use me as a model. But once you find it, then we can laugh together. And his song was, let us
Live together,
let us
love
together,
let us be together as one. In the name of Sachidananda, let us live together as one. Something like
That's
that.
like something,
Something
yeah.
like that, sorry.
Yeah, well, thank you. I almost put you in it.
Yes, you're putting me in it.
It was a dream to be a singer, so let her practice.
She was in the bottom sing.
You want to be a great singer, you can sing like this. Thank you. So, and let us be together, let us walk together, let us be together as one. And he said, that's the way. We'll all laugh together. Life is very short, you know. It is short. And we can't waste so much time on feeling sorry for ourselves with low self-esteem. When you see yourself doing that, stop it. Tell yourself, stop it. And do everything you can to make yourself happy. Do it. You deserve to be happy. Call a friend, I want to be happy. Okay, initially, if it just takes shopping, then just do it. If it helps you initially, just do it. Don't say, oh, I'm a bad person because I want to buy this for myself. Oh my God, you deserve it. You know, how many people tell me they don't deserve things? I said, what's the big deal? If you buy yourself a new pair of shoes, you buy it for your children, you buy it for your husband, you buy it for your friend, but you don't want to buy it for yourself? Aren't you part of everybody? Buy it, it makes you happy. And I come back with a pair of shoes and, was that so difficult? Are you asking for something bad? Are you asking for something evil that you feel you don't even deserve that? What's wrong? If you look after yourself and you think abundant, then you will be abundant. If you think poor, you will be poor. And if you buy yourself the pair of shoes, then you happily buy everybody pairs of shoes when you get your pair of shoes because you're abundant. The law works like that. But if you think them and me, I don't deserve it, then of course, as you think,
You become.
you don't deserve it, you won't deserve it. I don't deserve a holiday, it's too much money. No, I deserve the best holiday ever. Universe, I'll work hard, and I'm sure you'll find me a way. But in your own time, you'll get it. I always get it. Thank you. And now it's tea time.